Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This week in our Itihas marks the Chhotta Ghallughara of 1746. Here's 10 points to summarise the Chhotta Ghallughara. After the death of Zakaria Khan, two brothers, Jaspat Rai Lakhpat Rai, took his place and continued to terrorise the people of Punjab. It is said that Jaspat Rai was so bad that farmers would work all year to grow and then sell their crops, only for him to turn up and demand extra tax, looting their hard-earned savings. It was these two brothers, Jaspat Rai and Lakhpat Rai, who were responsible for the Chhotta Ghallughara. One time, the Sikh Qaum had gathered to hold a samagam at Gurdwara Rodi Sahib in Ehmnibad. Seeing the large gathering, Jaspat Rai's forces attacked the Sangat. The Singhs in command, including Sardar Jassa Singh Ahluwalia, sent a message to the regime. They said that we are only here for a few days and then we would leave, and that they didn't want any problems. Jaspat Rai replied to this letter. He said, "You're asking for peace? My forces have been hunting you down. I'm looking to cut your case and use it as ropes." He even said that he would kill the Singhs just like the Mughal regime had killed and made Shaheed our elder, referring to and mocking the great Tan Bhai Mani Singh Ji, whose Shaheedi was still fresh in the minds of the Sikh Qaum. This comment by Jaspat Rai would lead to his death. Sher jagayo fad muchal saud. It was like he was waking up a lion by pulling on its whiskers. It would only end in one way. Hearing this disrespect from Jaspat Rai, one Gursikh warrior, Bhai Nibhao Singh Ji, approached Jaspat Rai, who was riding on top of an elephant. With great stealth and agility, Bhai Nibhao Singh Ji climbed on top of the elephant, and with one stroke of his talwar, he sent Jaspat Rai's head flying to the ground. News of the humiliating death of Jaspat Rai reached his brother Lakhpat Rai, who was mad with rage and anger. And it is said that he even took off his turban and swore that he wouldn't eat, drink or sleep properly. He wouldn't retie his honour, his turban, until he had destroyed each and every Sikh of the Guru. Gathering all his forces, the Chhotta Ghallughara now commenced. Lakhpat Rai's mission was clear. It was to finish every nishani of Sikhi. He set his forces loose like hunting dogs chasing their prey. Any nishani of Sikhi, such as Kirtan, was banned. Imagine a time, Sangat Ji, when soldiers would enter your home. They would burn any instruments that would be used for Kirtan. They committed the worst Beadbi. Any Gotaka Sahibs, Pothi Sahibs were thrown into wells. Sroops of Gurbani were set on fire. A lot of our Puratan Granths from the times of our Gurus were destroyed. And this was all done by Lakhpat Rai. Gurdwara Sahibs were set alight and sarovars were filled with dirt and spoil. The Chhotta Ghallughara was truly a dark chapter of our history. Anyone who was heard to be reciting Vaheguru, Vaheguru, they would be tortured and converted. And how extreme was Lakhpat Rai's hatred for the word Guru. It is said that Gur ke kahne gur kah rodi trayo naam, that you couldn't even say gur, the Punjabi word for sugar. Instead, it was renamed Rodi. And then thousands of Lahore Sikh Sangat were arrested and made Shaheed. News spread about the chaos being caused by Lakhpat Rai, and by now the Singhs had based themselves in the dense forest of Kahnuwan. Eventually, the forces of Lakhpat Rai arrived, completely surrounding and outnumbering the Singhs, who on one side they had the high-flowing river that was impossible to cross. On the other side, the forest had been set on fire by Lakhpat Rai's forces. And on the other side, they had the mountains where the Hillaraje were waiting to attack the Singhs as well. Taking all this into account, the Singhs decided to fight through Lakhpat Rai's forces and escape. The leaders of the Sikh Qaum, including Jassa Singh and Nawab Kapoor Singh Ji, were leading the Panth during these difficult times. Another legendary warrior, Bhai Sukha Singh Ji, known for the assassination of Massa Rangar, was also heavily injured as they charged out the forest during this Ghallughara. Bhai Sukha Singh suffered a heavy leg injury, but still remained in Chardi Kala in high spirits. In fact, he used part of his dastar to tie his damaged leg to the saddle and was able to escape. Many other Gursikhs were able to escape, but the damage had been done. Thousands were shaheed in this forest. Now, what happened to Lakhpat Rai? This evil being who did the worst Beadbi of the sacred Pavitra Bani. He would have the worst death of all. Many years later, Lakhpat Rai was captured, and how did the Singhs deal with him? Lakhpat Rai was locked up in essentially you could call a public toilet, a trench that had been dug into the ground for the population to use. He was locked in there for not just one day, but for 6 months, where he suffered the most disgusting and horrible death. In total, over 30,000 Gursikhs were shaheed during this Ghallughara. But even during this dark time, note that not one Sikh sacrificed his Sikhi. They all lived in the true spirit of the saying, Sir jave ta jave, Sikhi sidak na jave. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to see more of our content. This year marks the 400 year Avtar Parab of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, so subscribe to see more content related to this.